From natural disasters to the fall of an empire all the way to cryptocurrency, Nostradamus was apparently way ahead of his time. Let's take a look at some of his predictions while we cover part 2 of the top 10 Dark Nostradamus predictions for 2022 that might come true. Starting off in our number 10 spot, we have the big one. It has been predicted for many years, and many people believe that at some point there's going to be a pretty devastating earthquake in California, but it could be coming up quicker than we anticipated. Nostradamus has predicted that a huge earthquake will hit the New World, or the Western lands, and California is truly the most likely place in the West for this to happen. With this prediction, he also gave some astrological indications of when he believes this will happen. He said that it would happen when Mercury is in Sagittarius and when Saturn is fading. It is said that the next time Mercury will make its transit into Sagittarius is closer to the end of the year in December, so it looks like we have quite a bit of time to wait out to see if this one comes true or not. In our number 9 spot today, we have solar storms. We apparently might see some pretty intense and devastating solar storms this year. These storms were predicted by Nostradamus, but also have been in the news recently as the sun has been showing more and more activity. These solar storms could have a terrible effect on our Earth and mess with available resources, and could potentially even render some areas unlivable. Not to mention how these solar storms can affect satellites that are in our orbit, which would cause a tremendous amount of trouble for our technological world. Nostradamus said that these storms could cause the water levels on Earth to rise, which would of course begin to submerge more land. If this were to happen, we could potentially see mass migration and fighting over resources. Hopefully the sun just feels like acting calm, cool, and collected, because if it doesn't, there really isn't much we can do about it. In our number 8 spot today, we have the earthquake. This prediction Nostradamus had is in reference to a natural disaster that it is said he predicts will happen this year in Japan. Nostradamus has said that he believes an earthquake will strike the country sometime this year, but he says that he believes it will hit in the middle of the day. I am absolutely hoping this prediction does not come true, but it is said that if it were to, the timing of it would be the best possible in order to avoid as many casualties as possible. He does, however, make it very clear that he believed that the material loss as a result of this catastrophe will be great. Unfortunately, there isn't a very precise way to measure how accurate or inaccurate these kinds of scary predictions are, and we simply just have to hope for the best and wait and see. In our number 7 spot today, we have the new position. It is believed that in one of his predictions, Nostradamus alluded to a new pope coming into the position soon. It is believed that Nostradamus referred to the pope in a few of his quatrains, but he has also explained that his successor will be a young man. People who have gone on to interpret his prophetic quatrains have some grim news about this new pope, however. It is said that the new guy is going to create a scandal that will last for years to come in the Catholic Church. It is unclear exactly what will happen after this, what this scandal will be, but many people don't have very high expectations and think that this might be a true turning point for the papacy. In our number 6 spot today, we have the golden period. This is an interesting prediction, most especially because Nostradamus isn't the only prophet who is said to have made it. This one doesn't pertain to just 2022, but involves a time starting a couple years ago and leading up to 2025. Basically, this prediction is that right now we're in the midst of a period of change, and in 2025 we will be introduced into a completely new world order. It is said that this change will then lead us into a golden period of about 1,000 years where things are just good for humanity. It is said that the period of 2019 to 2025 is one where evil is ruling the world, but 2025 is where things are set to get better. I don't know how I feel about this one, but it certainly is compelling. It is said that other prophets have also said similar things about this time period, and that this has even been mentioned in ancient scriptures in different cultures as well. In our number 5 spot today, we have currency. This Nostradamus prediction reads, quote, "The copies of gold and silver inflated, which after the theft were thrown into the lake. At the discovery that all is exhausted and dissipated by the debt, all scrips and bonds will be wiped out." In this day and age, I guess people have deciphered this to be a nod to cryptocurrency. I was hoping that they were going to take away my student loans, but I guess not. The bots in the comments are going to love this one though. Apparently he is describing the decline of good old-fashioned forms of currency and the rise of this new kind of currency. I'm not so sure how, if this really is what he was saying, he was able to make this kind of prediction hundreds of years ago, but hey, I could say that about some of the ones that have already come true, I guess. In our number 4 spot today we have flooding. There are all kinds of natural disaster predictions for this year, but this is one that has already come true. Nostradamus predicted that this year Australia would see an increase in flooding. He predicted that there would be some very serious and severe bouts for the country, and just 2 weeks ago this really did come to fruition. Over 100 millimeters of rainfall hit southeast Queensland over the weekend just a few weeks ago. This left thousands of people without power, homes and businesses underwater, and people lost their lives. This flooding was the worst that was seen in the area since 2011, and at the time that flooding was called a once-in-a-century event, so you can imagine the residents' surprise when just a decade later they were once again facing this very serious and frightening issue. So I guess on this list of things that might come true, this one already has. In our number 3 spot today we have depopulation. In part 1 of this video we talked about nuclear warfare and the predictions related to that, and today we are talking about a prediction Nostradamus had in relation to a possible nuclear incident. It is said that he predicted that some countries will have to deal with depopulation soon as a result of chemical weapons and nuclear fallout. He wrote, quote, "Within the isles a very horrible uproar. One will hear only a party of war, so great will be the insult of the plunderers that they will come to be joined in the Great League." This prediction is a terrifying one because if this is the result, it makes us wonder what the catastrophic event is going to be that causes this. Right now it is clear that every country is doing their absolute best to avoid any kind of scenario where these types of things would be used, so let's just hope that this continues to work out and this prophecy is one that never comes true. In our number 2 spot today we have drought. Like I mentioned before, there are many natural disaster predictions for this year, and one of them has to do with drought. We are talking about unprecedented levels of drought globally, and it is said that at the moment every continent except Antarctica is experiencing it at some level. Droughts aren't exactly a new thing, but with the rise in temperatures and the change in weather patterns and precipitation frequency, it is something that is getting a little more frequent than it might have been previously. He doesn't elaborate on how long this will last or what the lasting damage of this will be, so I guess only time will tell. In our number 1 spot today we have the fall. This is quite a grim prediction, but it is also a very large one. Nostradamus is said to have predicted that soon we will see the fall of a large empire. That would be quite a thing to see come to fruition, as it's been hundreds of years since the last time we saw an empire collapse, and before that it was even longer. It isn't quite clear exactly how this is said to come to fruition or what consequences of fallout would be after, but it would be absolutely shocking. There is the possibility of this happening after some sort of war or conflict, but it isn't exactly clear where this will occur or what will end up replacing the empire after its fall. Alright guys, that has been our list for today. Thank you so much for checking it out. I've been your host today, Olivia Kozlowski, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!